Alright, so in today's video it's going to be a little bit different. As you see here, I bought two different cameras and we're going to do street photography from the inside of this car right here. For the Fuji camera, I brought a 56mm 1.2 lens. If people come very close to the car, we have the small one, which is the X100F. It's a 35mm. So with these two, we're going to see what we can do from the inside of a car. It's still like Corona days here in Mexico, so it would be a good time to actually try this method out. And I've taken a lot of photos in cars when I go to photo walk. On my way there in Ubers, I take photos just to warm up and everything, and you can get some good photos there. It's not what I think of is like a nice way of doing street photography, but let's try it out. And for the first time, I'm gonna use this crazy Atomos Ninja with my camera, which is actually just an external recorder and monitor, so you guys can see my perspective when I look through the lens. Then you guys will see it exactly how I see it, so you can see where I focus and how I take my shots. So that's gonna be cool for you guys. All right, let's do it. All right guys, so right now, as you can see, my shutter speed is around 250, which is my minimum. My aperture is 1.4, 1.2, and an ISO of max of 1600. Usually it will just go like 160 and so on. Let's see how it goes. Shit. They're beating this guy up right now. Okay, maybe we shouldn't record that obviously right now. So in the back of that police car, they're beating this guy up. So it looked as though they caught some guy and then they put him in the truck, and after that they were kind of beating him up while he was really not doing anything, it looks like it, and people around him were like making a little riot. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Hola, amigo. ¿Una foto? No, ok, está bien, está bien. Para fotografía. Más o menos. Damn, this is impossible to get out and in of. I think we're somewhere around La Lagunilla right now. And Mads is trying his best to get us out of here again. Okay, now we need to go out of this for a minute and catch your breath. That was a little intense. A little too intense. And it's impossible to drive a car around here. Yeah. It really is. We got out of the place. Now we are on our way to somewhere a lot more quiet with more flexibility in terms of driving. But yeah, damn, that was I think either we hit La Lagunilla or Tepito, I'm not quite sure, but that was not the plan. So now we continue to drive and see if we can get somewhere a little bit less intense before the sun sets, because if the sun will set, then it gets so dark, which means I have to use a shutter speed to get more light in, around like 125. And if we're in a car and people are moving, then 125th of a second is not fast enough to like snap the photo. So we need to keep going until the sun goes down. Alright, so right now we're back in downtown. As you see here, a lot less intense. There's like an hour left of sunlight. Like from now on, it's gonna get more and more difficult getting these shots unless we're completely still. But let's see. This setup is very ridiculous to take photos with, and it's so heavy. It's so difficult to tell whether I got some shots that make sense or not. And it got a little bit hectic, so it took our mind off what we were doing for a minute. But yeah. Alright guys, we're back. It was more eventful than it should have been. And as you saw, I think the car, I hope it's okay. We had a little accident with someone else, but I think it was alright. In terms of the gear, it's the Fuji X-T3 that I shoot with, and we have a GoPro mounted here and the 56mm 1.2 lens. And I put the link to my gear in the description below. I took this photo that you saw earlier that I'm really excited about, and I put it in my print shop too. There's a link in the description if you want to check it out, and I made a special code for you guys for 15% if you use code YouTube. There's also one more thing I would like to address, and of course the first time that I bring this Ninja monitor where you guys can see my settings and all, that's when I mess up my settings. I shot a lot of the photos I took today around an aperture of 1.2 to 1.4, which is nice and all, and I'm actually doing it right now so I get this blurry background. The problem with that is I need to really nail the focus, and when you're in a car where you're moving, where the subject is moving, then you don't need to like give yourself another obstacle of hitting the focus so precise. And let me show to you guys what I mean by this. And right now you see the issue. I'm shooting with the same lens at a 1.4 aperture, and if I move a little bit back or a little bit forward, then I get out of focus, and that's the problem. Now I changed the aperture to an aperture of 5, and now I can be in focus even if I go back a little bit or if I go forward. So I don't have to be super precise, and that was kind of my issue. We're back at 1.4 again. If I had gone like to an aperture of like 2 or 3, then there would be less light coming into my lens, which would mean I would have to put my ISO higher. But I'm completely fine with that. It would be a lot better to get a little more grain or a little more noise in the photos than not having them sharp and in focus. But yeah, that's how it goes. But I hope you guys enjoyed this, and we just hit 40,000 subscribers on this channel, so I appreciate it. And now we're a lot of people, so go in the comment section, let me know what you guys do. Are you a hobby photographer? Are you a pro? Or are you just watching for the fun of it? Let me know in the comments, and then I'll see you next week for a new video.